discuss about a unit from theory portion, that is freedom or liberty. Freedom or liberty is actually used or carrying the same meaning. Only difference is that liberty is generally related with individual liberty, and freedom, it is a wider concept, or it is related with state or nation, like freedom movement of any country, like that. So generally, this particular word liberty or freedom is related with two terms, toleration and liberation. Toleration means if a particular person who has performed his duties, you should not have to interfere on the activities of that person. And if while performing their duties, if he created some what I can say, that some problem for you, then also it is necessary for your part to show him tolerance, so that he can discharge his own duty. And liberation, nowadays this particular term is very much used. Liberation movement is going on in many countries. So this toleration and liberation, toleration is actually related with individual. That means we should be tolerant towards other, so that that person can enjoy his or her freedom. And liberation means a wider concept which is related with liberation movement of various countries. So generally, freedom or liberty means, according to Lasky, eager maintenance of that atmosphere. Try to maintain that atmosphere in which men have the opportunity to develop their own best self. That means it is the responsibility of the government to create an opportunity, to create a situation for all the human beings, so that they can avail this opportunity and they can develop their own inner qualities. Because each and every person have their own qualities. So the responsibility of the state or society is there to create the opportunity, to create the atmosphere, to create the surroundings, so that people can develop their own self without any hindrances. Secondly, we can also say that freedom means to select the correct alternative from several alternatives. That means it is the responsibility of the state, or it is the responsibility of the society to create number of atmosphere, number of conditions, number of alternatives, number of conditions for the individual, so that they can choose the correct one which is best suitable for himself or herself. And by choosing that correct alternatives, he can develop his own self. So there should be wide alternatives, there should be wide choices before the people, so that they can select the correct one and they can use that for the development of their own qualities. But if the alternatives are limited, if there is obstacle in enjoying those alternatives, then we will have to say that there is no freedom in that state or in that society. Next, we can say that freedom also means absence of constraints or limitations or obstructions. Freedom means absence of various types of constraint or limitations or obstruction. While we are going to enjoy liberty or freedom, there should be no constraint, there should be no obstruction, there should be no limitations. In a free atmosphere, people can develop their own self. So these are in a nutshell about the meaning of freedom or liberty. So actually it means to create that type of atmosphere where the people can use their best self. And secondly, there should be number of alternatives before the people, and they can choose the correct one and they can use that. If alternatives are less, if there is less alternatives, if people get less opportunities, then we will have to say that there is less freedom in that society. So what are the features of freedom? So here you remember one thing, that freedom generally does not mean that it is a license. So freedom means absence of restraints. Freedom means not only the absence of restraints, only those restraints, generally those restraints are not actually welcomed, which restraints put trouble in the way of the development of the individuals. Those who are unreasonable, those restraints which are unreasonable, unjustified, those restraints should be removed from society. Otherwise, freedom does not mean that absence of all restraint. Restraint should be there, only unreasonable and unjustified restraint should not be there. Then, presence of positive environment to develop their best selves. So what is the meaning of that? Freedom means the environment should be a positive one. People can develop themselves in that positive environments and they can develop their best self. Then another characteristics is that freedom of conscience is very much necessary for the enjoyment of liberty by the people. If freedom of conscience is there, then people will do that type of activities what is worth doing, and they will have to nurture those activities what should be nurtured by them for worth living. So freedom of conscience should be there. People should have to perform those activities which are worth doing and which are necessary for the development of the society. Then another thing is that freedom is the product of right. How can we use freedom? We can use freedom only by enjoying various type of rights. If rights are not there, we cannot able to enjoy freedom. Then another thing is that law of the land created the conditions for liberty. Those who are the supporter of negative concept of liberty, they said that law is always put hindrances on the way of enjoyment of liberty. But in a civilized society, we must have to admit that laws are the essential conditions which are necessary for the people to enjoy their liberty to the fullest extent. Then these are some of the features of liberty or freedom. Freedom is not absolute or unlimited. Then presence of positive conditions should be there. Presence of number of alternatives should be there so that people can develop their own self. Then freedom of conscience. Freedom of conscience means by using the freedom of conscience, people will able to do only those things which are worth doing, or they will lead a life which is worth living. Then liberty is the product of right. If rights are not there in a society or government is unable to provide various kinds of rights to the people, then there is no liberty. The laws of the land, these are not constraint for the liberty, these are the conditions for liberty. Without laws, without what I can say that without positive laws, it is not possible for the people to enjoy the liberty. Then next is safeguard of freedom. Sometimes question may be there, right, about any 5 safeguards of liberty or freedom. First one is written fundamental rights. Written fundamental rights means if we are enjoying fundamental rights, that should be specifically written in the constitution so that people are aware of the fact that which types of rights are given to them by their constitution and the country. Secondly, then what is that? Separation of powers. There are 3 wings of the government: executive, legislature and judiciary. And it is for the enjoyment of the freedom, it is necessary that the powers of 3 wings of the government should be properly separated by the constitution makers so that not a single organ or not a single wing become extra powerful or dictatorial in nature. The next one is rule of law. Rule of law means all are equal before the eyes of law. Same laws are applicable for all the people. No one can be punished without breach of law. That type of condition must have to be prevailed in the country. All are equal before the eyes of law. No specific law for specific persons, all are under the same law and no person can be punished without a breach of law. Then responsible government, yes, parliamentary, presidential, whatever may be, the government should be responsible to the people through various agencies. For example, in parliamentary form of government is responsible through the parliament. In presidential form of government also, their legislature, if not directly but indirectly, control the president, and court also to certain extent control the executive. So responsibility of the government should be there to other authorities. Then decentralization of power. Power should not be concentrated in the hands of few persons or in the hands of central government only. Power should be decentralized between must be decentralized among central government, state government, and if local governments are there, they should also have to enjoy the power. And public opinion, strong public opinion is very much necessary for enjoyment of freedom. So people should be conscious enough, they should have to know, they should have the knowledge about what type of rights they are going to use in their country. They should be conscious enough, and if they are conscious enough, if they are aware of what is their own rights, if they are aware of what are the safeguards of their rights, then they can form strong public opinion even against the government if the government is interested to take away their rights. So these are in nutshell about the safeguards of rights. So this is a lengthy chapter. Now after that you will get about negative and positive liberty. I am not going to discuss everything today. Only negative liberty is that negative liberty is totally related with individualism. Okay. Those who are the proponent of negative liberty, they said that negative liberty means absence of any kind of restraint, absence of any kind of constraints, absence of any kind of obstruction, and people should have to enjoy their freedom without any obstruction. And they even said that laws are actually created problem in the enjoyment of liberty. So they are also not in favor of giving much power to the government so that government can pass different kinds of law. So those who are in favor of negative liberty, they said that people should have to enjoy liberty. There should not be any outside interference. No one should interfere in the enjoyment of their liberty. No one should interfere for the development of the weaker section of the people. Everything will be open, free competitions, and they are always in favor of survival of the fittest theory. So those who are in favor of negative liberty means absence of any kind of restraints, and according to them, laws are not the condition of liberty. According to them, laws are the obstruction in the way of enjoyment of liberty. So in my next class, I will discuss little bit about positive and negative liberty, and after other portions are also there. So thank you today.